send a donation.
Did I just witness what I think I witnessed? Please don't tell me I just saw a billionaire standing next to a multi-millionaire begging the average everyday citizen for donations that can barely get by due to a real-life recession, living paycheck to paycheck, barely can pay rent, barely can put food on the table for our families.
Oprah has only raised so far $165 from her page link and around $4,000 from her viral video when she was probably expecting millions.
That will put money directly in the hands of
People are mad at Oprah and The Rock, as more than 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Looking at the fund organization it's called Entertainment Industry with their audit for last year can see all the different costs that are taken from donations, including salaries, advertisement, rent, bonuses, and more, of around 400 million, absorbing most of the donations. And the CEO salary is around 700,000 to $1 million according to salary.com. This is why many people have shared their frustration online that a billionaire and multimillionaire are asking for donations, and most of donations will go to overhead costs. I don't know, what do you think about this?
Today I'm back with another true crime case, anti-capitalism video, YouTube video. Today I'm going to be doing the pure evil, or the Maui Hawaiian fires, an inside job and capitalism caused. Deep dive, capitalism, ecocide, land grabbing, Hawaiian tourism, true crime, billionaires, etc. Disclaimer before we get started into this video, everything in this video is allegedly, by the way. And I know some people might be mad and offended at me making a conspiracy video about this topic that happened recently, you know, the Maui Hawaiian fires. But the fact is, you have to question things. You have to question everything. Just like 9/11 and how that could be an inside job. You have to question things, you know? Hawaiian tourism is toxic and billionaire land grabbing is not unheard of. The point of this video is to open your mind, you know, to educate, to make your own, you know, thing of what happened. So, yeah. So, before we get started, my other YouTube videos related to this topic will be linked down in the description down below of this video and on the screen right now if you'd like to check them out. So, let's get started into this video topic. Even if it wasn't an inside job, the cause of the fires hasn't been determined. Hawaiian Electric, the major power company in Maui, is currently under scrutiny for not shutting down power lines when high winds create dangerous fire conditions. Maui experienced high winds from Hurricane Dora in the south, while it was also grappling with a capitalism-caused climate change crisis disaster drought. Wildfires across the region have long been a concern. How 19th century pineapple plantations turned Maui into a tinderbox, land privatization, and water depletion in those areas set the stage for the Lahaina fire 150 years ago. Now land companies may benefit even more, but more than a century and a half of plantation agriculture driven by American and European colonialists have depleted Lahaina's streams and turned biodiverse food forests into tinderboxes. Today, Hawaii spends $3 billion a year importing up to 90% of its food sources. This altered ecologically, experts say, gave rise to the August 8th blaze that decimated the historic West Maui town and killed more than 111 people. The rise of plantation capital spawned the drying of the west side of Maui. You can see the link between psychopathic system that is capitalism and at the expense of our natural resources and the ecosystem itself. Capitalism puts profits over the lives of animals, people, and Mother Earth herself. Drawn to Hawaii's temperate climate and prodigious rainfall, sugar and pineapple white mangates began arriving on the islands in the early 1800s. For much of the 2 centuries, Maui-based plantation owners like Alexander and Baldwin and Maui Land and Pineapple Company reaped enormous amounts of capitalism profits and fortunes, uprooting native trees and biodiversity that's native to those areas, and extracting billions of gallons of water from streams to grow their thirsty crops. The annual sugarcane production averaged 1 million tons until the mid-1980s, and a pound of sugar requires 2,000 pounds of fresh water to produce. Invasive plants that were introduced as livestock forage, like guinea grass, now cover a quarter of Hawaii's surface areas. The extensive use of pesticides on Maui's pineapple fields poisoned nearby water wells, causing major, problems. The dawn of large-scale agriculture industry dramatically changed land practices in Maui, Hawaii, where natural resources no longer served as a mode of food production or natural habitat for birds, but a means of generating fast cash for capitalism profits. In 1893, a group of U.S. imperialists, backed-coup psychopathic capitalists, overthrew the Hawaiian kingdom's queen, paving the way for the U.S. to annex Hawaii 5 years later. Sanford Ballard Dole, a cousin of Dole Plantation's founder, served as the first governor of Hawaii. When the last of the sugar companies closed in 2016 due to the rising labor costs and operating losses, the farms were purchased by large-scale investors for real estate speculation and left Faro overrun with invasive grasses that became fuel for the brush fires. Developers like West Maui Land Company, Inc. took control of the plantations. Century-old irrigation ditches and diverted water to service its luxury subdivisions. In doing so, it left scraps for indigenous families who lived downstream. Many water rights activists say that they fear West Maui land and other water diverters will now attempt to exploit the tragedy and buy up more land and water rights. They're putting farmers against farmers, Native Hawaiians against Native Hawaiians. To prevent more fires from engulfing communities, it's not enough to merely return water to the streams. Maui needs to resurrect the wetlands and ecosystems and biodiversity that for centuries provide not only subsistence but also natural buffer against disasters. Lahaina's original name, Lahaina I Kai Malu Yula o Li, translates to Lahaina lies in the shade of the breadfruit trees of Lili, a reference to the large breadfruit grove trees that once fed tens of thousands of people. The fires destroyed more than 2,200 structures, 86% of which were residential areas. Right after the deadly fires, Maui is not for sale. Survivors say multi-million-dollar developers want to buy land where their homes once stood. Kalut, Hawaii, Tammy, a victim of the Maui fires, home of 20 years burned to the ground. People she knows also burned in the fire, too. Less than a week later, she said she got a Facebook message from someone in real estate. Residents have been warned and warning one another on social media that developers may try to buy their land, so she ignored the Facebook post. Why are they doing this to us when the whole tragedy happened very recently and we're still in mourning? Many Maui residents are mourning the losses of their homes and pledging to stay put after the deadliest wildfires in U.S. in more than a century destroyed neighborhoods across the island. They said they are worried that if insurance payouts and governmental assistance don't come in fast enough, survivors may lose hope and sell to people who would drastically change their beloved but rapidly gentrifying community. In the days since the fire struck, developers have reached out about acquiring the land islanders and their families have lived on for years, if not generations. Mark, 67 years old, said he too has been approached by these developers, and the offer felt like he was being kicked while he was down. He and his wife have lost their jobs, and he still worries that he'll still have to make mortgage payments on the destroyed property. The median price of a Maui home has soared to roughly $1.2 million, and the median condo price in Maui, Hawaii, is $850,000. The area, where about 65% of residents are people of color, has a median annual household income of $88,000. Indigenous people are struggling to survive with prices going up due to Hawaiian tourism and a lot of people moving to Hawaii. Oprah's response to Maui wildfires sparks fury. Truly disgustingly vile. Oprah Winfrey faced backlash from social media users after she tried to film the survivors of the Maui wildfires. Oprah has lived part-time in Maui for the past 15 years and owns more than 2,000 acres on the Hawaiian island itself. All these billionaires grabbing up land like her and others such as Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, Jeffrey Bezos, etc. Right after the fire, she tried shoving cameras in victims' faces. Officials working on site thanked Oprah Winfrey for her help, but said that they had a no media policy out of respect for those who have come to seek safety and shelter at emergency shelters. Oprah and The Rock face backlash over modest $10 million Maui wildlife relief donation. These two, billionaire and a multimillionaire, have the audacity to ask poor people to donate money for the Maui fire victims. They face backlash for their $10 million wildfire relief donation, ignited a firestorm of controversy and backlash and drama with their recent plea for wildlife relief donations in Maui, Hawaii. The power duo took to Instagram to announce their combined contribution of $10 million to the cause and urged their followers to chip in. However, it wasn't long before the public responded with skepticism, questioning why such wealthy individuals didn't donate more of their substantial fortunes. Forbes' eye-popping wealth estimates added fuel to the fire. Oprah's net worth was reportedly over $2 billion, while The Rock stood at $250 million as of February 2022. The $10 million donation in this context represented a meager 0.5% of their combined total incomes. Oprah accused of hiring her own firefighters in Maui. Social media users claim she hired private firefighters to protect her land from the flames. Some TikTok videos claim that Oprah Winfrey hired a team before the fires hit and didn't help displace people. Multiple social media users have posted videos alleging that she hired a private team of firefighters to starve off the flames from damaging her 2,000 plus acres of land. Oprah Winfrey long has been criticized for taking up land ownership in the tourist hotspot. Hawaiian tourism is toxic, and so are all these billionaires buying up land. Like it's not their land. Land back forever. At the end of the day, the Maui Hawaiian fires have everything to do with capitalism. You have, people trying to take the land as soon as the last fire is put out. You have, a power company being irresponsible. You have bad farming practices that cause invasive grasses everywhere. And you have billionaires that are trying to exploit the tragedy. These are the victims of capitalism. The Maui wildfire, victims are victims of capitalism.